What's up? How's it going, everybody? Today I'm going to be talking about the movie Meet the Robinsons from 2007, which is based on the book A Day with Wilbur Robinson by author William Joyce. So, if you haven't noticed, I am wearing my hat. It is the only time I'm ever going to be able to wear this hat with it being on theme, I'm pretty sure, unless I'm talking about the Zendaya hat theory. So Meet the Robinsons is a childhood movie for me. I can't remember when the first time I would have seen this movie was, but it's a childhood movie for me, as I'm sure it is with a lot of people around my age, and it's one that I hadn't seen in a while. It's been at least several years since the last time I saw this movie, and so I figured it was time for a rewatch. This is one of those movies that myself and other people I know remember fondly, even if it isn't as culturally and historically significant and iconic as some of the other movies from the 2000s. And it's true that some of the other animated movies from the 2000s are more popular than this one, but I feel like Meet the Robinsons is kind of slept on. It's a really fun movie, and it's got some good humor, and I think it manages to navigate some emotional topics pretty well at the same time. And so I think that this movie deserves a little bit more credit than it's given normally. And there are some movies that I think are put on pedestals a little bit because people view them through the lens of nostalgia, but I feel like this shouldn't be one of them. Meet the Robinsons is legitimately good. And even though I feel like this movie should be talked about a little bit more than it is now, it does have the advantage of being iconic on the internet. Goob as a character has transcended this movie. Even if you've never seen Meet the Robinsons, chances are you've seen an image or something else of Goob. He's kind of a meme icon these days. Meet the Robinsons was a part of Disney's experimental era, in the same era as Dinosaur, which I did a review on not that long ago. But that's part of the reason why this movie isn't as popular and as beloved as some of the Disney classics, because those experimental era movies just aren't remembered by a majority of people in the same way that some of the other eras are remembered. The experimental era is kind of the era that we grew up in, people my age, and so this is just me guessing, but I feel like people that are a little bit older than me, and maybe today's kids, haven't really seen all of the experimental era movies. The experimental era kind of just feels like a time capsule of movies, which is kind of on brand considering what this movie is. But aside from the fact that I think this is a good movie, there are other reasons to remember this movie. There are other things that are unique about this movie. And one of the things that is significant about this movie is that this is the first Disney animated movie to never get a VHS release. By then, everything was DVD and Blu-ray. And so in a way, even though this is a nostalgic movie for me and it's part of my childhood, reading that and learning that kind of killed a little bit of my childhood as well, because I was raised on VHS tapes. I don't think we owned any DVDs until I was like 10, and so everything I had before that was just VHS. Something else that I didn't know about this movie until I was doing my research after doing my rewatch was that this movie was composed by Danny Elfman, which I had no idea that was the case. When this movie does come up in conversation, I feel like one of the topics is usually, why doesn't this movie have a sequel, or will it ever get a sequel? And this movie was originally going to have a sequel. There were talks, there were ideas, but they never really materialized into anything, and so this movie at one time could have had one, but that just was never really officially the case. And I don't mind that. I know that fans of this movie probably wanted a sequel, but here's where I'm at with that. I like this movie. I grew up with this movie. I am okay with not every movie having a sequel. I wouldn't mind this movie having a sequel. I think there's plenty of material out there for you to make another story. But at the end of the day, I don't mind that every movie doesn't have a sequel. And I think at this point, if they tried to make one all these years later, I just would be more concerned than excited. But yeah, that's all I've got to say about Meet the Robinsons. Is this a movie that you've seen? Is this one that you grew up with? Let me know in the comments down below. If you want to help me out here on YouTube, liking this video, commenting on this video, subscribing to the channel, or checking out some of my other videos, all help me grow the YouTube channel. I've done other animated movies, I've done TV shows, I do a little bit of gaming here and there. So if any of that sounds good to you, I'd appreciate you sticking around. But yeah, until next time, bye.
Poor Mr. Harrington.
I killed him?